with it. With our education level,
Yeah.
know the difference.
All right. Well, we're live, everybody. Today is August the 9th, 2023. Welcome to the Wednesday edition of Hanging with Uncle. I'm Gene. Let's start the show off right. Please hit that subscribe button if you have not, because we're really trying to grow the show. And hit that thumbs up, that like button. It really helps to spread the message. And if you want to know when we go live and put new content out there, please hit that notification bell. And having said that, let's just jump right into it. We have back again on the show our man on the street, Brent Naple. Brent, welcome to the show.
Hey, Gene, thanks for having me again, brother. Looking forward to it, man. A lot to talk about.
You know, really, we had a lot of topics to choose from. We could be here all night, but we chose Ohio, because Ohio had a special election last night, and it's part of a growing phenomenon across the country. Remember when the Supreme Court overturned Roe versus Wade?
Yeah. They go ahead.
Well, so yeah, and you know, now it's been a year from that, and in that year they said, let the states decide. Well, you know, the reddest red state of Ohio had their special election today, and it was an attempt to take Roe off the ballot because there was a ballot measure, a citizens' initiative, to codify Roe into the Ohio Constitution. And what the special election was about was to allow the state legislature to vote to change the Constitution. And if the people wanted to oppose that, instead of needing 50 plus 1%, they wanted to change that to 60, which, I mean, really, if you think about it, that sounds like 40%, rule, which is not the majority. And the citizens of Ohio totally shot that down and protected having Roe on the ballot in November.
Yeah, no, that's great news. I mean, you know, women are really paying attention to politics now. And they're really getting their voice out. They're organizing. They're instead of waiting for stuff to happen, they're actually taking a proactive stance now in these matters. And it's so important right now to pay attention, because of all these stupid special elections that these states are trying to throw at you in the middle of the summer on a Tuesday. Wisconsin will do it to you. All these different states are coming at it because they don't think you're going to show up. Basically, they think the same people, the same Republican based mainly, were going to be the ones that are going to show up, and that has not been the case lately. There's been a new voice that's been heard.
I'm glad you mentioned Wisconsin, because Wisconsin had a special election for their Supreme Court justice seat, and that would give the majority to either the conservatives or the progressives, right? And Roe being the big ballot issue that the candidates ran on, the Democrat overwhelmingly won. Just like in Kansas, that red state where overwhelmingly the citizens decided, hey, don't mess with our rights. We want to keep Roe. Same thing happened in Kentucky. And now Ohio's ready to take part of that in November as well. So we see the trend going across the country, and I don't know why the GOP continues this losing strategy, but I don't care, because to me, it gives us the opportunity to talk about a bigger issue, and that is how you approach your ballot.
Yeah. So if you're actually voting with your mind, you should know your elected officials. And if you become more center of the road independent, your choices will actually, you expand your choices a little bit. You could affect primaries that way. You could pick maybe Republicans that are slightly more progressive. You could pick Democrats that are slightly more progressive, because the whole issue of who a person is not just what they say; it's their actions.
Exactly.
So when I looked at some of these special elections too, they're doing this in the middle of summer during the hottest part of the year. Like, I remember definitely that one in like Wisconsin with the Supreme Court. They were trying to limit people having water. They're making it so hard for people to get out there, but that didn't matter, man. You should have seen those lines. There were such beautiful lines I saw last year, and that was that message that, hey, we're going to stand up. And now these special elections are actually, I think, starting to help the sane people in America. They're paying attention now to politics. If they just had to go ahead and have election every 2 years, maybe they weren't paying attention. Now, since they're throwing this stuff at you left and right, well, you got to pay attention during the whole cycle, because it's continuous.
And the cycle is every 2 years, because you will vote for Congress every 2 years. We can have a chance to change the makeup of our House of Representatives in Washington, D.C. every 2 years.
Yeah, and then with the special elections and state elections and all that, now people are engaged all the time, instead of like, every 2 years or whatever. People, especially the younger people, what I noticed in Michigan, there was a lot of younger people getting involved. They're looking at climate change, women's rights. They're growing up kind of quicker as a voter this way. So as you're growing, you should expand your possibilities, and that's what I kind of like the independent ticket a little bit. Being an independent too is going to put pressure on it. Like how I would run as an independent, and I've done is I don't actually answer any polls. I don't want them to know how they actually affect me or my or other state people. So I don't answer any polls. I research everything online. I look at what the Republicans are saying, how the Democrats are saying it, and I try to get a consensus on good candidates. And most of them, of course, been, for me at least, on the Democratic side. But it is really hard to tell the difference between a true Republican and Democrat these days. I mean, Trump switched parties in 2001 and became a Democrat. Then he said, oh my God, this rhino thing. Bloomberg became a Republican. And then your lady in Arizona, I'll let you kind of take the stage on that one.
God, which one, man? We got crazy Carrie Lake, my representative, Debbie Lesko. Take your pick, man. Which crazy lady Republican are you talking about?
Well, I'm at Sinema.
Sinema. Yeah.
Huh?
Sinema. So she's a special kind of terrible, in my opinion, because when she ran against Martha McSally, that was a very close race. And
I remember that.
Yeah, she ran on expanding minimum wage and protecting voters' rights, and then she gets elected and goes to D.C. and votes no on both those issues. So as far as I'm concerned, she lied to me as a voter of the state of Arizona, because like you said, man, when I look at a ballot, look at what's happening right now with Just Roe in these red states, right? If you vote with your mind, if you look at the issue and not a political party, why would you vote for the people that are trying to take these rights away from you in the first place, because now they've taken them and you have to vote to protect them when you could have just voted for their opponent in the first place and avoided this whole mess. Stop thinking like you're voting for a party. Look at the candidate, see how the candidate stands on reproductive rights, on minimum wage, on voting rights, on immigration. What are the things they stand for? Not a party. What does that candidate stand for, and how does it affect you? And that is how I approach my ballot. Like I said, just for example, and then I'll give it back to you, Brent. The Senate race we just had here in 2022 was Mark Kelly versus Blake Masters, right? And Blake Masters is in front of the microphone talking about gutting Social Security. Well, I collect Social Security. Why would I vote to have my rights gutted? So I voted for Mark Kelly. It's about the issues, not a political party. Think, people.
Yeah, what I didn't like, so I lived in Alaska for a lot of years, and I love the state. You know, I grew up in Michigan, but the first time I ever said I was from anywhere, I said I was Alaskan. I was proud of it. And then I seen a lot of stuff kind of get to me about in the 2000s with the bridge to nowhere, and then Mr. Murkowski being in the Senate, stepping down or actually running for governor, becoming governor, and then having the ability to put his daughter into that slot. So she was very big on this Roe versus Wade issue. She actually was on the Kavanaugh hearings, and I didn't know if she was actually a senator or somebody looking to buy shoes, because she kept on flip-flopping on everything. I'm going to go ahead and I'm not going to vote. I'm going to but I support women's rights and blah, blah, blah. And, and then she didn't vote for it. And then, well, that hurt women's rights because Kavanaugh really doesn't care. It doesn't really seem to care about that issue. So she had a chance to redeem herself after Ginsburg passed away.
Yeah.
And she flopped. She flopped on it. And she could have actually been the deciding vote to go ahead and actually put in somebody that could have actually helped out with women's rights more. She could have blocked that Mrs. Barrett.
So here's my thing with that, and please don't forget your train of thought. Lisa Murkowski voted, right? She voted to confirm Kavanaugh. She could have voted to follow the Republican precedent set after Judge Alito died. Oh, we're not going to make any change during an election season. But during an election season, when votes have already been cast, they ram Comey Barrett through. Their hypocrisy to me knows no bounds. And Lisa Murkowski, you go ahead now. Take it from there, Brent.
Yeah, I'm at how she got into office and even how she stayed in office. So she couldn't even get the Republican vote to vote for her.
Yeah.
People were upset with her in Alaska, so she got on this thing where they set up this new special election where it's like they did in New York. You get a first place vote. Then if you're second place, you get a certain amount of votes.
Ranked choice voting.
What's it called?
Ranked choice voting.
Ranked choice, yep. So she started that and got that passed through because she failed. She wasn't actually helping out her constituents.
Yep, I remember.
She was helping out herself, it looked like. So I hope that she does the right thing. I hope she starts at least protecting her homeland a little bit. I've been reaching out to her for an issue, and I've yet to hear back from her. But it wasn't surprising. I haven't. I mean, I thought it probably wouldn't happen. I thought I would have to reach out to Peralta for it.
Well, I tell you, man, Lisa Murkowski, in my opinion, is a sellout. She can never claim she supports women's rights when she voted to confirm all three justices, Gorsuch, Kavanaugh, and Barrett, to the Supreme Court, knowing they were going to overturn Roe. And when the Senate brought it to the floor to codify it for a vote, if she wanted to protect women's rights, she could have voted yes, but she stayed with all 49 other Republicans and voted no, saying, I don't give a shit about women's rights. So Lisa Murkowski is a hypocrite. She can shut the hell up.
Yeah, I hope that she doesn't even run again, and then if somebody else would step forward in Alaska, I'm sure they would win on that seat coming up, because it's gotten to a point where I think she knows she's not going to run again, and she's going to try to do everything she can to make cash right now. So all that was just making deals behind closed doors to go ahead and keep her bank balance going. She doesn't really care about the people of Alaska, and that's, to me, that's just heresy. Like I said, if you're Alaskan, you're proud of that, and there's nothing I feel proud about with her right now.
You know, she's just like everybody else, man. She's using her Senate office as an ATM machine.
Yeah, she got trained by, of course, her father and the Bridge to Nowhere Wonderkin. So yeah, she knows how to work it. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And the people that are in Alaska, the big money people like the Princess Cruise Lines and all that, that's how she's staying in office, basically. They've been funding her operation for a long time now.
Yeah.
Big oil to a point, but the whole, all that stuff that's going on with salmon prices and everything, I don't think she's helping out at all.
Talk about climate change. I mean, did you see the result of the flooding and the houses going into the raging waters as a result of the glacial melt?
In Alaska?
Yeah, in Juneau.
No,
yeah, Juneau is like flooded. The waters were raging, man. I don't know if it's still going on, but there were houses crumbling into the water as it was rushing by as the water levels were rising. I am not kidding.
Wow, yeah, there really isn't much of a town there. It's like, they've been building back into it as the glacier keeps on moving back, but I think is that the Mendenhall River right there? But anyways, so what are they doing if that's flooding right now and it's causing a divulge down there into your bay? What are they doing are they limited to cruise ships? Probably not.
I think they've had to stop that because the focus has been on evacuation of the people so they don't drown. It's that serious there, man. It really is.
Too bad too bad she wasn't caught there, but oh well.
You know, I don't have that book, so. But anyway, man, just I would really suggest that again. So I'm not. Some states recognize an independent party. I don't care about any party because I can tell you something that soured me with the Democratic Party that has never sat right, and that's how they treated Bernie, versus Hillary, and going into that convention. Neither one had the required amount of delegates for the nomination. It came down to the super delegates, right?
Yep.
And, that old Clinton slap on the back boy magic, hey, I sure need your vote, what can I do for you? Bernie got 2 superdelegate votes, and that's how Hillary got the nomination. And that just, it's stuck in my craw, man, because like, really? Wow, that's what democracy looks like? And so I don't even want to be part of an independent party. That's why I'm registered no party preference.
No party preference.
Yeah.
I wonder how many states you could do that in. Is that every state?
All 50.
All 50, okay.
The only restriction is that you cannot vote in the presidential primary election, but you can vote in an off-election year. You can vote in the primary in your Senate, your Congress, every other primary election you can vote in, just not the presidential.
If you're independent, you can vote in the primary presidential election, but then you got to go in and make sure there's an independent party in your state, like you're saying, and then if not, you can become an independent Republican, independent Democrat, and get on their ticket. But it's not as effective. I definitely see the advantage in that.
Yeah, so like even here in Arizona, they do not recognize an independent party. So if you're registered as an independent here, you do not get to vote in the presidential primary. But if you go to Utah, that does recognize an independent party, you get to vote and have your say.
Well, they make it so you got to understand your voting laws, and that's something we started talking about too. So that's good that we're continuing the conversation on that.
Yeah, definitely. And
all the way through, man.
I think this is going to be a recurring conversation because I know Zane is extremely passionate about stripping away the labels and making candidates talk about how they feel and not how their donors are making them feel. Because, see, in my opinion, the right candidate is on the ballot every election. He's the person, he or she is the person that is not killing it fundraising. And that's the person you want to vote for, because that's the person that's not going to be beholden to anybody in office, which is what you want your representative to have. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, no, they're basically, the donors are going to leverage them. The more they give, the more they want to leverage for whatever their pet projects are. So that's exactly right. And when I see election cycle and I see one guy dominating all the ads, I'm like, God, and I'm not for that guy.
And that's the media. That's the media saying, oh, this guy has the most money, let's give him the most airtime. So, I mean, you have the media to thank for that perception as well, to only give the, the facade that only just this one person is running, not, the candidates that are not doing as well fundraising, but did enough legwork to get qualified to be on the ballot.
Yeah, and they basically, too, set them up so easily, some of these candidates. If you ever seen, I think I seen Tommy Tuberville when he was actually out on, and that was hard to watch. But they set him up like a bowling pin so he didn't look stupid, and somehow he still looks stupid,
Tommy Tuberville is an idiot, but see, I'll tell you this. Everybody's blaming Tommy Tuberville for these appointments for the generals, in the Army and the Marine Corps to get filled. Well, the last time I checked, there's 100 senators. What about the other 99 that are supporting this nonsense about weakening our military and thus our national security? Does anybody have the gumption or the cojones to honor their constitutional oath and let these nominations go through and at least give them a hearing?
Yeah. So that's really big. I'm purple as they can be, and purple is a few different things, but mainly military. And Tommy, actually, so the reason why he's actually holding up the nominations too is he wanted to get that Air Force contract or that Space Force contract. It got awarded to Colorado, Colorado Springs got it. That was, I think, last week. So he was heavily trying to put the pressure on them to go ahead and change their decision, but also trying to get another project down there. But if you look at it from just an intelligent point of view, if I was putting in a new Space Force and all this stuff, would you want to go ahead and put it into a flood zone where there's no hard rock and clay underneath the ground? Or would you want to drill your tunnels into the hard rock granite of the Rocky Mountains to actually keep your site secured?
Yeah, honestly, so there's actually this this thing about the Denver airport, and I like this show called The Y-Files, and they did an episode on the Denver airport, and I recommend you checking it out. It's very interesting because you'll go, wow, these guys think the same way I do.
Yeah, I mean, you want to protect it. I mean, there's some new technology that people have not seen. I'm seeing a little bit of it because we're on LinkedIn all the time, and we're seeing we see stuff that happens behind in kind of closed circuits that don't ever hit the news.
Yeah.
So there's some really cool technology out there, and we have to guard our intellectual property. That's part of the reason why I'm doing this cybersecurity project right now, is to help protect our IP and our factories in different places. The government has a pretty good hand on that right now, but since there is so many contractors out there, they have control over their operations, but then as they contract out, you got to make sure that you have the right amount of talent in place. So there is some really cool stuff out, and they're talking about like this alien technology a lot. You're hearing this word a lot if it comes out and all that. Another word for that is stuff you've never seen before that might be alien to you. How alien it is, I mean, there's some cool shit out there. I don't want to fully get into it, but the Wi-Fi's are pretty cool. I remember you showing me that about 5-6 months ago.
Yeah.
But but that's the whole thing. Men in Black, man. You gotta protect your home and country. You gotta make decisions that are best for America to stay safe in a time of global conflict. We have to have the military readiness and the military capability to actually take on our adversaries and have our allies built before the conflict happens. And I'm really worried. Every indicator to me is that this draft is going to start here really soon. We won't really get into that, but people should start thinking there's a danger level out there. Not only you got to pay attention to politics, but understand geopolitics and stuff that's going on globally.
Yeah.
What's happening globally will be affecting you locally.
I think the time of peace through superior firepower is coming to a close. Yeah,
because how much more superior can you, if we already have the point of destruction from the 50s on, and that clock to midnight's been at, I think it's at about 1 or 2 minutes now, but it was stuck at 30 minutes for 40, 50 years. So
yeah,
we've been living in that danger zone, and it's not like all this new technology and stuff that's coming out is making it any safer. So we got to get to a global cooperation agreement. And the UN was set up, and there's some people that like it, and there's some people that think it has outgrown it. So it depends on how you view it, but what happens is you have to adapt your playbook. You have to have an adaptive playbook. So we were really cool in World War II, but we had a couple conflicts since then. It's been dragging on, and really there hasn't been a winner or a loser. Maybe actually us being a loser, maybe more in Vietnam. But we gained a stronghold in a way, we gained cooperation there in Asia by being in there. But if you look at it, and it hasn't been working, you have to adapt that playbook. And if you look at what Russia's doing and the people in Ukraine, is they're not really following the Geneva Conventions. And if they're going to be releasing missions like cluster bombs, things could start going south. So you better be preparing yourself for all eventualities.
Yeah, well,
so anyways,
we're getting close to about all the time we have for this week. But we're going to continue this conversation about the importance of your vote, how to approach your ballot, because, again, not only are very important issues like women's reproductive rights at stake, but so is green energy and climate change, and reducing the gap between the working class and the 1% by increasing minimum wage and closing loopholes on tax breaks for the rich. And there's a lot of things at stake, and I'm sure that you guys have other issues that are important to you, and we'd love to hear about them. Please leave your comments in the comment section below, and I promise to do my best to respond to all of them. But anyway, I wanted to give another thanks to our guest today, Brent Napel. Brent, thanks for being on the show. Please let everybody know how they can reach out to you.
Well, you can reach me through LinkedIn. I still have my profile, Brent Napel, at Brent Napel Calcaterra. I have all my contact information on there. And yeah, man, just going, man. I'm glad I'm on the show with you, brother. I'm looking forward to next week. So tell Zane to have a good time on Friday's show. He's always fun to listen to, man. I love that guy.
Yeah, he's a good friend. I've known that guy for a long time. Yeah.
Right on. Well, you have a great week, man. I'll see you soon.
You too. And you guys, thank you very much. You've been hanging with Uncle. Stay safe. Be nice to one another. And Zane and I will see you on Friday.